Hello and welcome to the Downtown Kentucky Podcast. I'm Austin slash Parfait.
And I'm Chris/Ox.
That's right, baby. And we're back at it again with another podcast because it is a Thursday.
It's a day of the week, and we
Uh,
are recording
and,
live on
yeah,
twitch.tv slash
and,
downtown Kentucky.
yeah, and the VOD is on YouTube as well as Twitch for a month or whatever.
Yeah.
Might be 60 days now. I think they might have changed it. Whatever.
The world is falling apart, and there's no news for us to cover aside from the fact that the world is falling
Yeah,
apart.
and
And
that's
so
how
today,
this is about. So,
yeah, we're bringing you something a little bit more lighthearted
yeah.
than the world
So
falling
it's
apart.
time for the second ever in a series we started in January from the podcast. It is the super official, non-negotiable top 10 series. That's right. And today's top 10 that is non-negotiable, can't negotiate it. This is official. We will be talking about Nickelodeon cartoons.
Not our favorite Nickelodeon All-Stars characters on the video game.
No, maybe it should
Okay.
have been. I don't know. But no, I just want to give out quick shout out some honorable mentions. Amazing shows that did not make the list. All Grown Up, Rocket Power,
Mm,
Legend of Korra,
fair.
Cat Scratch,
Mm.
Planet Sheen,
Uh,
Tough Puppy, Back at
uh,
the Barnyard, and
okay, we're back in.
Rabbids. Those are some classics that did not make the list. Sorry if those are your favorites. They are some of mine, but not. No, okay, most of those were not. Almost all of those were jokes.
Uh,
Um,
well, Cat Scratch did end up being, what I based my PlayStation Network name off of.
and that is the only reason it even made the top 10,
The
the
honorable
honorable
mention.
mentions. Because if not, that show was not that good and it so doesn't
Is that
matter.
really why that made the honorable
Yeah,
mention?
yeah, no, it did.
Because
That's
you
what.
remember my PlayStation
Yeah,
Network name? Splee.
yeah, that was for you.
Thanks. Means a
I
lot.
would say the true honorable mentions would be All Grown Up, Rocket Power, and like Legend of Korra. I think those are the three that you
Okay.
could say don't make this list, and I could understand if you felt like they should have. That's pretty much it. Honestly, I feel like when it comes to Nickelodeon cartoons, unless you're like some random obscure ones, which they are out there. Oh,
Yeah.
also Hey Arnold. Honorable mention Hey Arnold, I guess.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think it's time to start with number 10. Let's reveal it. It is Cat Dog.
A cat dog, a cat dog.
Yeah.
Little on the world, little cat dog. All right. Yeah.
All right, Chris, tell me about Cat Dog. Tell me why you think this deserves to be on the top 10 list, because it is. It is non-negotiable. It is number 10.
It is
But like,
the number 10.
explain to our audience why this illustrious show made our illustrious list.
It takes the straight man and the funny man slapstick comedy duo, and it literally fuses them together into one person in a frankly very charming animated show. I have many fond memories of watching the show growing up. I'm not the type of person who can like rewatch a lot of stuff. But basically, anytime Cat Dog was on, it didn't really matter what episode it was on. I would be down to watch it.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I never cared for Cat Dog, but I'm glad it made the top 10 list of the greatest of all time.
It was non-negotiable.
It is non-negotiable,
and also, the theme song is it's
the Cat Dog theme song, great, amazing. The show, it just wasn't for me. But I respected being here. Should have been Angry Beavers. Angry Beavers was robbed. Wasn't even discussed, but it was robbed.
I mean, Angry Beavers was also a show that I watched on Nickelodeon.
Should have been All Grown Up.
One of the shows, absolutely. One of the shows of all time.
It
on
is
Nickelodeon.
one of the top 10 cartoons on Nickelodeon, possibly to some people. Just kidding. There is no possibly. This is non-negotiable. Cat Dog is
Yeah.
the number 10 show, period.
No questions asked, baby.
I don't believe there's a question that could be asked.
So stop asking me about why
you're
it's
right.
the top 10 spot.
You're right. Number 10 spot. Number 9. This one. This is My Life as a Teenage Robot. This is a classic as well. I actually enjoy this show, unlike the last one, so I completely agree with it being on this list.
All right. True.
But yeah, no, this show, I'll take control for this one to explain why I think it should be on this list.
Okay.
Is because it's really charming. The characters are really well done, as well as the art style just being beautiful. It is different than a lot of other cartoons at the time. With like a lot of I don't know how to explain the differences, but the art style is different. Like this picture doesn't really do it justice. This picture you say like, oh, it looks like a robot in every other Nicktoons style art, really. But like it's like the backgrounds and stuff, and like the villains she fights, character designs, it's beautiful. It's also a great coming of age story about a robot, which is what we all have been asking for years. It's robots, the classic coming of age stories about a robot.
All robots are cops.
Yep, all cops are robots, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, dropped my headphone.
True. Yeah, but not all robots.
She is not She is not a cop. She is a vigilante.
She's just a teenage
Cops hate
robot. Oh, it's true.
Probably. I don't remember that being a before.
I don't think that she does.
But
I don't think they do.
But they should, because that's how vigilantes typically should work. Most cops should not enjoy vigilantes because they're also breaking the law. But hey.
What if Batman was a teenage robot crime fighter?
And a girl. Don't forget the girl.
Yes.
A teenage girl robot.
Who then
likes
you've got the show.
That's the show. All right. Let's move on to number 8. Non-negotiable. Chalk Zone, baby.
The chalk zone, yeah.
Rudy has the chalk.
Yeah, he
has it.
And he can't draw that good. Unfortunately for Rudy.
Talk about it's beautiful, his art.
In his defense, he is a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, a very, creative show, as you might guess from a show called Chalk Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Where they take the idea of a kid who has a magical piece of chalk that can make anything that he draws come to life. And they just explore that in its entirety. And it is a lot of fun.
There's also a musical number in like every episode, which is kind of original and something that not a lot of other shows do, but it does, and does well. I mean, I remember enjoying the musical numbers.
Fun little adventure comedy show.
Yeah.
I think the show would still hold up, too.
Yeah, no, probably. They should bring it back. Paramount Plus, this is us telling you which shows
can we not do that?
Back.
Ooh, I have not really been super impressed with the way that Paramount Plus has been bringing a lot of shows back. So
I mean, the newest one they announced looks atrocious, but Rugrats is actually really good. The art style's kind of atrocious, but the actual show is great. I've watched it with my brother. It's really fun.
I didn't even know that the Rugrats got relaunched.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Rugrats is actually pretty good. Go watch the Rugrats reboot.
Don't watch the new Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odd reboot.
Yeah.
It's just the whole concept of, what if we took the live action movie and made it into a series? The thing that did terribly.
I mean, I don't think it did, though. I think people like us hated it, and there's
the thing that everyone who watched it hated, but it did well because a lot of people watched it.
See, Chris, I honestly think it's the target audience might have liked it. Young children. The problem was all of us went back trying to get our nostalgia from loving Fairly Odd Parents. Like, oh yeah, let's see what this is. Oh gosh, why is Drake Bell here? But legitimately, I don't know. I'm not. I wasn't a child. I don't have like specific, evidence of a child who enjoyed it. But I feel like it probably was enjoyable to children, which is what it's actually made for.
It doesn't take much to make things enjoyable for children.
It's true.
But
some kids like Cat Dog. Moving on.
Sophisticated young kids. Yes, you're right. Absolutely.
Moving right along to number 7. Boom! That's right. It is The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron. This show also looks terrible, but it's really good.
Yeah.
um,
Looking back, the CGI
oh, so
is
bad.
pretty hard to look at. But it does have, a really quirky, colorful cast of
It
characters that I think
does.
I just absolutely love, like Carl,
Carl's great. Sheen is
Sheen.
great. That's why he got his own show because he was that good of a character.
He
He could
unfortunately
drive a
did get
whole
his own
show, and it was
show.
amazing, and it was 5 stars. It was number 11 on this list, actually.
No, no, not even close.
It was an honorable mention.
I forgot that show existed until you mentioned it, and I was like, oh,
No,
it
Chris. It
exists.
was on the honorable mentions list, and those are also non-negotiable.
They did get mentioned.
It did get mentioned honorably. But this show isn't an honorable mention. This show actually made the list, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's great. Goddard is a cool character.
he's a
Um,
dog.
yeah, I mean he's a cool robot dog though.
He's a robot dog.
Um, little, you know, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? A little preview for something that might be on a little bit later in this list. I think the best Jimmy Neutron stuff was the Hour of Power,
Uh,
the Jimmy and Timmy, like yeah,
Timmy Power Hour,
Jimmy
yeah.
Timmy Power Hour, which was Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents mixing into like 3 1-hour specials that all still are pretty like hold up. Well, at least last time I looked at them, like 10 years ago, probably, but so they still hold
when they
up.
first there.
They still hold up about 10 years ago, probably. Um, but yeah, this show's fun. It was started off as like a kind of weird movie that then they spun off into a show.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
the movie, probably doesn't hold up as well as the show, but it
But it did introduce a lot of very young kids to
yeah,
Kids of America, the song. So,
that is
we'll always
true.
have that to thank Jimmy Neutron for.
So either if you like that song, thanks Jimmy Neutron. If you don't, dang it,
Thanks,
Jimmy
Jimmy
Neutron.
Neutron.
Yeah, but yeah, Jimmy Neutron. He's really smart, and he's got fudge for hair. Isn't that the joke, right? Is it called fudge head, right? That's what that was
Fudge
called.
Head.
Yeah.
That's
Even though it
about
doesn't
right.
really look like fudge, it looks more like an ice cream
Ice
or a
cream?
mousse, maybe.
Yeah,
Not
like a
not fudge.
chocolate dipped ice cream cone.
Yeah, not fudge. But hey, whatever. They also fun other fact about this show because we talked about earlier in our honorable mentions section about your cat scratch being something that was connected to you years ago. This is at least I hope, and if there is, I don't know what it counts to be for anymore. My password used to be "got a jet," like back when I was a child. That was my password on everything. I have since
Got a
changed
jet,
it.
not even got a blast.
Yeah, it was got a jet, which I don't remember. You're right. I don't even know what it came. I remember it came from this somewhere. I think maybe you're right. I probably just had it wrong, and I didn't.
I mean, you were a kid, so
Yeah, it might have. I think it was based off like the Spy episode. Maybe like the spy he looks up to said that once, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But yeah,
And so
that's why
because
it is
Austin's password,
non-negotiably number 7 on this list.
that's right.
Let's move on to number 6, which honestly I think might be a hot button issue. How low it is on the list for a lot of people.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right. It's SpongeBob, which
Oh my gosh.
you know, I really like SpongeBob, but I don't love SpongeBob the way I feel like most millennials would probably say this needs to be like number 1 or 2 at the lowest. But I would have trouble putting it any higher than here.
I quite genuinely don't remember what comes after this. Like, I know it definitely does not deserve number 1 spot because I remember what has the number 1 spot, and it deserves to be there.
I will peek behind the curtain. This was based off of a top 5 list that you and me both had created, and there was 8 or so movies or shows we had put on our respective lists before we came with this top 10. This didn't make either of our top 5s. So
And that makes sense. That makes sense. As much as I do love SpongeBob, and like I reference it probably at least once a week, if not like once a day. Introduced me to Tiny Tim, the musical artist who sings constantly in a falsetto. Yeah, I mean it's a very fun show, and that is it.
Yeah,
there's nothing really beyond that. There's nothing of substance. It's still running for some reason.
Yeah, it shouldn't be running. I'd say there's like 1 or 2 episodes here or there where there's substance. But yeah, no, it's like Rock Bottom is like a really well done story.
That's true.
That's the one where he learns curse words is kind of weird and different than what they normally do.
Yeah. But aside from that, I mean, as you'll find out,
I learned about Nosferatu because of SpongeBob.
Oh yeah,
I had classic horror character Nosferatu. I only know about from him messing with the lights in the hash slinging slasher episode.
The dash pinging, the mash ringing.
You get it. No, we get it. We all get it. It's cool. You can stop.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it really doesn't serve anything beyond just like, hey, remember this childhood show that we both watched growing up, probably?
But I do think it is going to be considered a spicy take for it to be this low, and I just want to acknowledge that, and the answer to that is, you're allowed to have your opinion, but this is non-negotiable. This is the top 10 list.
Your opinion is wrong.
Yeah, your opinion is wrong. Sorry. Go watch Planet Sheen or whatever. All right, let's talk about our number 5. Boom! It's Invader Zim. Let's let our resident Eboy, who shops at Hot Topic, tell me why Invader Zim is a good show.
It's Mr. Hot Topic, baby, in the building. Yeah. So Invader Zim has a very special place in every kid who shops at Hot Topic's heart.
Sure.
Mine included. It was kind of the weird and quirky show that really embraced a lot of the kind of more out there sects of culture. I mean, your main character is an alien, and his sidekick is this kind of ADHD robot.
Oh, Gur's amazing.
Who most of the people who love this show, Gur is kind of the reason.
Yeah,
that
scene girls love Gur.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
That's right? The audience. Let's be real. That's the real audience for Vader Zim. Apparently, it was. I would have this show is great. I remember really liking it as a kid, and then I stopped caring. And then next thing I knew, every emo and scene kid was loving the show. I was like, when did this happen? Okay. It just kind of one day I looked around, I was like, oh, look, Hot Topic has nothing but Invader Zim stuff right now. All right.
I think a large part of it had to do with the fact that, Gur is so random, so funny.
Yeah, probably. And then there's just the general darkness of the other parts of it really kind of fit the emo aesthetic as well.
And that was definitely what kind of made me fall in love with it, aside from Gur. I was like, I identify with this ADHD character. But also, wow, this is dark and kind of really funny, and also parts of it are a little bit more intelligent and highbrow humor. Kind of making fun of the X-Files-esque community. But yeah, also just a very fun show overall. Yeah. On top of the dark comedy aspects.
I agree entirely. Honestly, I really it's one of those. This is one of those shows where I do feel like there was a point in my life where I really, really when I was a little kid. I think I really loved this show. But as I got older, I was just oh, okay, cool. This is some other people really love this show. I'm just gonna let them have it, and I just let it. I drifted away from it. I was like, you know what, you guys can have this. I don't need it.
This was definitely my jam all through middle school.
Then you know what, knowing you in middle school, like through pictures. That makes sense.
Yeah. I definitely adopted some personality traits from certain characters, and
Yes.
I'll let the viewers parse through that as they will.
You were. I can't. I wish I knew more of the characters, like more of the obscure ones, so I could like throw one of those out here, but I can't. So we'll just move on. Let's move on to our
Let's do it.
number 4.
Which is
It is. Oh, it's Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom. Yeah, I love the show so much.
It's fair. It's a
I think it was my number 2 on my
I don't know what you're
personal
talking about. There are no personal lists. There's only a top 10 list.
But that doesn't matter because yes, this is the official.
But yes,
super
this was your
non-negotiable
number
list.
2. It did not make my top 5, so that is why it is here. Peek behind the curtain. But yes, I do understand the love for Danny Phantom. Just like other shows like Tough Puppy, it is created by Butch Hartman, who is a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't know how like ears work. Like he puts them in weird spots on people's heads, and he can't. There's something else he can't.
Like right below the jaw, right where your ear normally is.
He also doesn't know how like face structure works at all, though. Like I remember I saw this. Like, have you seen like the picture of like the Tough Puppy art where it's like the mouth is like in such a weird spot? It's like, why did he design the character? Like that's not the point. I could do a whole podcast talking about Nickelodeon creators. It's all about Butch Hartman and then the really dark side of Dan Schneider, but we won't do that. Instead, we will talk about Danny Phantom.
This isn't that podcast.
Yeah, that's coming out after the Kanye podcast thing.
Oh man,
we're gonna do a Dan Schneider docuseries. We're not, but that's also he's not a Nick. He never created a Nicktoon. He created every live action Nickelodeon show. So that's for a different top 10 list some other day.
Correct. So number 4 is Danny Phantom. Why, you might ask?
Because he's a ghost. Moving on.
I mean, it's not entirely wrong. I mean,
because there's the goth girl, and Chris likes goth girls. That's why I made the list. He wants to be his
you're
goth
also
girlfriend.
not
That's
wrong
why.
as to why I like that show a lot. Did have the hot goth girl that I was super into as a kid. Who was the best friend of the main character. I was like, man, if I could be Danny.
I don't know if you want to be Danny. You want to be Danny like later season, because Danny doesn't make a move on her until way too late, like in his life.
Right.
So you want to not be Danny.
For the first half of the show.
Yeah, it's the old classic
3/4 of the show.
It's the classic will they won't they, where they like probably go to prom together once early on and then don't do anything except for one, and all the fans are like, we want them together, because that's every show.
But yeah, so this story or this show has plot and continuation, and that's kind of why it makes it as high as it does on this list, at least for me.
It's fair.
Because the plots were like well written and thought out, and it made you care about all the characters that they had, set up in the story.
It's fair.
And what felt like a pretty satisfying ending. And also, I'm edgy Eboy and I like ghosts.
There it is.
So there's number 4, baby.
All right, now time for some more edgy Eboy stuff. Here we go. Let's talk about Rugrats. Oh, no? Oh, is that not? Oh, crap.
No?
Oh, oops. I really thought that was part of the edgy E-boy section. Dang it. But yeah, Rugrats, not all grown up. Sorry, that did not make the top 10. I understand. Big all grown up fans.
Oh, that was part of the edgy E-boy.
Yeah, because Dill.
All grown up.
We're all Dill stands, right?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah. But this Rugrats is an amazing show. It really, if you look at it on paper, it has no right to be as good as it is. A show about babies doesn't sound like it should be good, like in any way.
I would agree.
But this show is pretty good. I watched like the first 6 seasons or so within the last 3 years with my little brother, and I was enjoying every moment of it. It's still It still holds up as a fun kids cartoon. It doesn't insult your intelligence, which is nice for a kids cartoon. Which pretty much none of the ones on this list, except for maybe SpongeBob at times, really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rugrats is great. The character archetypes they have in there, you got your brave one, your scared one, your Phil and Lil. They don't really fit in
Your
any.
twins one.
Your weird, gross twins one that
Yeah.
no other show has ever had that archetype. Actually, I take it back. It's not an archetype. It's just them.
Just the gross kids.
Yeah, but yeah. Also, I remember this is actually was something we talked about on a, I think now long non-existent episode of a Minecraft series when I was explaining why this show had merit, was the way it introduced cultures to children. I know the story. I know like the meaning of Kwanzaa and Passover and like stuff because of Rugrats. Rugrats taught me Jewish culture and taught me about Kwanzaa. Like, credit to a random kid show to like do that.
Yeah. Totally didn't have to, and we're just
No.
like, what if we just introduced these cultures to children and
I
just
think the
did diversity
Passover episode, or not the Hanukkah episode, might have been before the Christmas, their first Christmas episode. I could be wrong on that, but like I think it might have been. So I mean, like, yeah, it just that's another reason to just add, besides just being a fun cartoon, is it's it teaches people, and it also has a banging Christmas album. The Rugrats Christmas album. One of my literal favorite Christmas songs is Tommy Pickles singing "Silent Night." But yeah, let's move on to number 2. It's Fairly Odd Parents, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, and my number 2 favorite Nicktoon for sure. Yeah, not my favorite. But yeah, it's a shame the bastardization that has happened to this property over the years throughout, the last like 2 seasons of the show, followed by the live action movies, and followed by what looks like even more trash in this new reboot that, tech, to be fair, hasn't come out yet, so, maybe it's gonna be a sleeper hit. It won't be, because it looks like trash. But I'm just gonna say I don't want to judge it technically before it comes out. I still probably will never watch it, but I'll let the reviews come in that tell me how bad it is then. But yeah, it looks bad, and it's a shame, because the first, I think there's 8 seasons of this show, and the first 5 or 6 are some of my favorite, seasons of television ever. There's so many, things, another account information stuff. One of my emails was Cosmo197 for years. Yeah, this show meant a lot to me. One of my favorite, some of my favorite jokes in television come from this. There's one joke about a nickel being Cosmo finds a nickel, and he tells people he has two good things. He found it was good news and bad news. Good news, he named his nickel Philip. Bad news, it's a girl nickel, and just that got me as a kid.
It's a girl nickel.
Yeah, and then he bawls his eyes out. It's like, okay, all right, Cosmo. And then also when they go to Escalator Land, and Timmy asks, when do we get to the ride? And then his parents gleefully go, "This is the ride!" It's great. I love this show. It's charming in every way. I could talk about this show probably for longer, but I'd probably just be rambling about how it's great. It also has my favorite holiday episode.
Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator.
Yes. But it has my favorite holiday themed cartoon episodes. The Christmas Everyday episode, and the What If Halloween Was Real. I don't remember the exact title of that one, but it's if everyone remember the one where which is everyone's Halloween costumes are real. That episode and Christmas Every Day are my 2 favorite holiday episodes of any cartoon. So and then also Rugrats Hanukkah. Yeah, sure.
I will say this has probably like one of the most impactful uh like cartoon episodes from my childhood at
Mm-hmm.
least. The episode where everyone is turned into the same gray blob.
Mm. I don't. I remember what I remember it, but I can't remember anything else about it other than. But yes, I remember that episode.
Like the impact and importance of like being unique and different
Yeah.
and
Also,
what it
the
brings to the table
TV
instead of everyone
movies
just being the same
this show had, like,
or actually good.
yeah, like some of the best. Like, a lot of the Nicktoons ended up having decent-ish or whatever TV movies or live actual movies released in theaters. Like Rugrats had a really good, the first one. Rugrats in Paris is okay, and we don't talk about Rugrats Go Wild. Um, but yeah, this had well, I don't remember the names of them now. Which, like, there's the one with like the birthday muffin. That's a classic.
One
Um,
where he surfs through the
yeah, Channel
TV.
Surfers, as well as we mentioned him earlier, but the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours deserve
Was
just
Channel Surfer the one where he also goes into the future? Or that his future self
his
comes
future
after
self
him?
comes back to his is chasing him throughout the whole thing. Spoiler. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, that was sick.
that is probably the best like TV movie. Is that one? I also always loved the other one though, the best birthday wish or whatever. They'd always play every time it was on TV. They would play the episode. The episode they play right before it was the episode where they like explained how Cosmo and Wanda were Crocker's fairies first, and they always played those two together to like explain Crocker's backstory before knowing why he wants the power. Like it's just like it's really like really well done like television play like schedule planning that was every time, and you would think eventually they would forget to do that or something, but it was every time that movie played, that episode was aired right before it. But yeah, and I've talked a lot for a little while here because these were my two favorite shows. So now let's let Chris talk for the closing out of this. As he talks about a show I also really enjoy, but I'll let him take the lead on this one. Chris, tell me all about Avatar: The Last Airbender, our
Uh,
number one non-negotiable Nicktoon or
and you know
Nickelodeon
what?
cartoon.
As is evidenced by, the whole pandemic that happened this past 2 years, and literally everyone going back and rewatching the show on Netflix, and people who hadn't watched this show going back and watching this show through its completion as young adults. I think it really just uh, goes to show that this show does stand the test of time, like through and through. Uh, a story about a kid who has kind of greatness thrust upon him, and not only having to figure that out and like save the world, but also navigate like adolescence and
Mm-hmm.
just growing up and all his feelings. Uh, so not only is it a like incredible coming of age story, uh, but it's also like a really cool action adventure with a lot of really good comedy written in, uh, and just excellent character development that happens throughout. I'm gonna make this as vague as possible in case you do want to watch it, because I could spoil something just by saying literally anything. Uh, so if you haven't watched this show, absolutely go out and watch it. It's on Netflix, I think. Still,
Maybe
um,
it's if it's
might
not, it's definitely on Paramount Plus. It might
right.
also be on Netflix. I don't know how those deals work, but it's
It's
made by
definitely on Paramount
yeah
Plus
um
at the moment.
yeah,
Uh,
and it will
but yeah,
probably
this
always be there because it's made by Nickelodeon, which is owned by Viacom, which is owned by Paramount. So
show has phenomenal storytelling and is absolutely worth a watch and deserves the number one spot
I
on our
I here's the thing.
non-negotiable
I agree.
list.
I as someone who actually hasn't even actually watched all of it yet, I need to get around to it.
I understand.
I watched like back when it was on the air. I'd watch pieces here and there, and then actually since like like when I first moved into my new house, me and my mom and my brother were watching it for a little while, and we made it to like about halfway into season 2 of the 3 seasons, and it was really fun. I loved pretty much all of it. There's even it does kind of fall like on that anime style of stuff where there's occasionally some filler episodes.
Some filler episodes, yeah.
But even those filler episodes are really well done. Like there's definitely filler episodes, but you don't feel like they're filler. Like they are. Like you can definitely tell. Like I guess you can not say you don't feel it because you can tell. But they're good enough that you don't mind.
Yeah. And they don't linger too long on like anime where it's a whole season is
There's
just
no
a arc
point
of filler.
where Aang goes to heaven and learns to drive or whatever crap happens in Dragon Ball. None of that crap happens here, okay?
Yeah, it all. Even the filler usually goes to further like the development of a character.
You'll at least get a character trait that's revealed in each filler episode, or a piece of Aang's past, because which it's really good. I don't disagree with it being here. Another peek behind the curtain. I put it here. I could have tried to fight for my favorite show being a number 1, but I didn't even try. I just went, no, this deserves it. And so number 1 Nicktoon, non-negotiable, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Won't be much argument, I think, in the internet for this one. It's just the fact that SpongeBob wasn't number 2 is gonna be what gets us later.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
sorry,
eventually
SpongeBob defenders.
Yeah. Yeah, or Invader Zim, or the emo kids will find us and be like, "You didn't put Invader Zim as number 1."
Sorry, guys.
Is RAR-XD as a character. How dare you not make him number 1?
He is, and I respect him.
But this is not the end of the podcast, though.
No, it's not.
That is the end of that segment, and now we have one more segment, though. We have a segment we do every week, but I can't remember what it is.
What's that? It's the Tournament of Champions.
Tournament of Champions. Oh my gosh, that's that amazing segment of the Downtown Kentucky podcast does every week, where they pit characters from everything you can think of into a single elimination fighting tournament with over 500 competitors. Yeah. What? Oh my gosh! Anyone from Rocky Balboa to Thanos could be in this? That's crazy. I've heard so much about it. I can't wait to be a part of it this week. All right, let's talk about Tournament of Champions. Let's find out who's in the block today.
All right.
Let's head over to our West Coast, baby. We have Black Panther from the Marvel Universe, the MCU. Black Panther, who is taking on Jake the Dog from Adventure Time.
Okay. Cool. I'm so down.
Then we have from Minecraft, the Wither, taking on, also from a video game, the Prince of Persia.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Then we also have
diversity in the bracket.
Yeah, baby. Then we have Goliath, not the biblical
From
Goliath.
David and Goliath?
No, not biblical Goliath. Goliath, the lead gargoyle from Gargoyles. Woo, Gargoyles!
Oh yes, everyone's favorite Disney XD show.
Hey, when
Gargoyles.
How dare you?
It's just a Disney show.
It was a Disney show. And that will be number 10 on our top 10 Disney cartoons when we eventually do it. That will make the list, because that was my number 2 on the previous list we had made, which definitely needs to be reworked.
Didn't we trash talk you out of putting it on the list at all, though?
No, it'll make number 10. Coming later. Also, I guess real quick before we finish this tournament bracket, this episode also we're never doing the Kentucky Route 5 on this now. Remember how Kentucky Route 5, we haven't done it in a year, and we said, we're coming back with 2 more episodes in that episode? Yeah, those are never happening, and honestly, half of those Kentucky Route 5s will probably end up just becoming top 10 segments like this at times in the future. No one watched them, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
brand new content for everyone watching.
Yeah, so let's go back to this. We got Goliath from Gargoyles, greatest cartoon ever, taking on a character from a show that couldn't even make the top 10 Nicktoons, Korra from The Legend of Korra, only an honorable mention on its list. Just saying.
Fine line.
Then our next East Coast bracket, we have Kim Possible from Kim Possible, who will be taking on
Oh, is
Jim
that who it's from?
Hawkins from Treasure Planet.
Oh, I love Jim Hawkins. Well, I love Treasure Planet more specifically, but
Yeah,
Jim is a cool character that I identified with as a kid.
that's fair. I dropped my headphone. You were really big into the weird, space surfing you did? You did that too as a kid?
Yeah, definitely. I had a wind sail that I took
Yeah.
out into
Big
literally
windsurfer?
just open space.
You're a big windsurfer. I've heard it. I've heard the rumors.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go. Let's get right into this. First matchup, we have Black Panther, who is a chieftain. He is he's also let me get to his actual powers.
He was blessed with the connection to the Wakandan god Bast.
Which grants him superhumanly acute senses, enhanced strength, enhanced agility, enhanced stamina, enhanced durability, enhanced healing, and enhanced reflexes.
Uh-huh.
As well as the power to draw upon the knowledge of previous Black Panthers.
Oh.
He's taking on Jake the dog, who his powers include he's stretchy, a lot, and he can modify his size, shape, and dimensions of every part of his body. Not only can he stretch and control himself into highly specific forms, but he can also rearrange his internal organs and teeth. One frequent use of his power is Key Hand, which he uses to pick locks.
Classic Jake.
He also uses his arm as a bow, able to accurately
shoot arrows
at a short distance. And that's
right.
But he also doesn't really care about fighting. He can, but he doesn't really care most of the time.
Yeah, usually when he does fight, he kind of just wins the fight immediately. Yeah. It's like, all right, well, back to goofing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Jake.
I'm also leaning towards Jake, a lot.
I think it's Jake. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I don't. For me, it's not a definite, but I definitely think the fact that we're both leaning there, it does look like Jake is going to move on, because I also agree that it's Jake the dog.
I feel like Jake kind of just destroys Black Panther by just increasing his size and kind of just
probably
stepping on him.
Yeah, something like that.
Something
but yeah,
to that effect.
Let's we don't need to spend too much time on it. Jake wins, and you know what? If you don't like it, that's fair, and I'm sorry. Then we have our next battle, which is the Wither from Minecraft taking on
the Prince of
Persia from the Prince of Persia movies, books. There's video games and a lot of stuff. Let's start with the Wither's abilities. They have superhuman physical characteristics, which include flight, regeneration, immunity to fire and magic attacks. At 50% health, it will generate a force field to protect itself from projectiles.
Only melee attacks will work.
And it can fire exploding Wither skulls, and can inflict the Wither status effect, which will slowly kill the target. Unless they have
if you're not careful and you don't kill the Wither fast enough, it will destroy your whole base, as me and Austin have found out.
And then he will be taking on the Prince of Persia, specifically from the Sands of Time, because I think he has the best abilities. And he has the Dagger of Time, which he uses to recapture humans changed by the Sand of Time.
Very useful in fights against the Wither.
I think doesn't he also use that to go back in time as well, or is that a different thing that gives him that ability?
It's the Dagger of Time.
Okay, yeah. So
he presses the button on the end of the dagger, and it takes him back to a few seconds.
Yeah, that actually could be useful. You could take it back before you got withered and move out of the way. Yeah, and he's.
I mean, the Dagger of Time is a really solid weapon.
See, the way you said it with a tone that made me think you didn't think it was good. Like that's really useful. It's like, oh, okay.
If you miss a jump or you misstep, you just rewind.
He also has an uncanny agility, including running across walls to reach an area impassable through conventional means.
He is
And
an expert parkourist,
yeah,
is
and
what
he's
that
also
means.
skilled enough to engage multiple opponents. I mean, he's only fighting one here, but he could have fought two.
And since he doesn't really ever use projectiles, I think he is good to take on the Wither in
Yeah.
close combat.
And I also think that I'm basing this off of I feel like he has more powers than the average Minecraft
Minecraft player.
Steve, and he can take on the Wither. So and he has the power to go back in time if he misses. Like,
Or gets hit.
yeah. Oh no, I didn't get hit. I think the Prince of Persia beats the Wither, and I don't.
I think so too.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad we're both on the same page here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Wither's hard pressed to be able to actually hit the Prince of Persia
Yeah.
with a Wither skull.
Yeah. All right. It is time for our first East Coast matchup of the night. We have Goliath from the Gargoyles franchise, who his powers are.
Being a
He
gargoyle.
is shown to have incredible strength and endurance, even for his species. This is
Oh,
most likely due to his
musculature.
musculature. Although he usually fights his enemies unarmed, he is skilled using a variety of weapons from maces to scrap metal and even guns.
Although I would like to say that the wiki we were reading put scrape metal.
Yeah, okay, the gargoyles.fandom.com didn't do a great job on it, alright? He is fast and agile for a gargoyle of his size. He is able to strategize well. He always makes decisive planning. Being a clan leader, he is able to assign tasks that is best suited for each of its members.
Good.
He
He's
has
able to assign
sufficient knowledge
tasks.
in using magical items such as a phoenix gate, although he is reluctant to do so. On many occasions, he is shown to be a skilled diplomat.
Ooh. Wow.
And Korra, I don't know,
Has
she's got
powers
like
over all of the elements.
she
Yeah.
has the capability of all the elements. All right. Well,
And is also a really skilled martial artist.
I
Yeah.
agree that Korra would definitely win this, but Chris, I'm pretty sure you have to argue for Goliath here.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't like Goliath, is the thing about it.
You don't have to. That's not the point of this. The point of the segment is you tell me how Goliath wins, because this is debate class, baby. You've been assigned Goliath.
you
You need
see,
to give me a debate on why he'd win.
he is a expert in using scrape metal and even guns.
Has Korra ever
And
fought
so-
anyone with a gun?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
There is guns in The Legend of Korra, which,
Is Korra good at diplomacy?
I mean, she has done diplomacy before,
Oh, crap.
but tends to, resolve things through fighting because, that's what she's good at.
Sounds like she's a brute and is a bad person. Goliath would
She's
just
a little
solve this
bit
with
of a
his
brute.
words.
Although there is character development in which she becomes less of a brute over time.
So which season are they fighting in?
Probably the one where she has all of her powers. Because in the first season, she does only have the power of water bending and I think fire bending.
I see.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
So I'm gonna go with Korra does win, and I couldn't even come up with a legitimate argument in which Goliath has a fighting chance against Korra.
Well, I think it would really come down to which season they're in. I mean, in season 1, he still loses, but he lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah, because she still has the power of water, which corrodes stone.
Yeah. Well, he's not. Well, he is only stone in the sunlight.
Fair.
But also, even as a young child, she was already a child prodigy and able to bend all of them with ease. It says
Oh, that's right. She got her power stripped away at some point.
Yeah, so she actually has the knowledge. Yeah, so she definitely wins. I didn't read that before because I was trying to give my boy a fighting chance, but yeah, even as a child, Korra beats him. Well, bye Goliath. We will see you never again. Now we have Kim Possible taking on Jim Hawkins. Kim Possible is a master gymnast
Yes.
She has, she knows martial arts and kung fu. She's really good at learning.
Learning
She's
things.
good at swimming.
Whoa.
She's
And she's
regularly
intelligent.
called on to serve as a babysitter,
Oh my gosh.
detective, unpaid bounty hunter, espionage agent, and perhaps more often as a legally accepted vigilante. In addition, Kim had experience in a wide variety of fields, including firefighting, animal conservation and protection, natural disaster prevention, crop dusting, and hot air ballooning. She also has a keen intelligence, I guess.
She knows how to fart without being noticed. That's really impressive.
Where did it say that?
You said crop dusting, and I took it as, the
Oh,
non-conventional crop
no,
dusting.
actual crops.
Oh, okay.
Jim Hawkins.
Jim Hawkins.
He has. He's intuitive. He has highly coordinated. Though a teenager, he has shown a rather impressive strength and agility. And he can breathe in space.
So, I am inclined to give this one to Kim Possible.
What?
It's not like a super deadbeat out.
No, it is.
But
he really doesn't have any skills, and she has a lot.
Yeah, she's like a highly trained martial artist.
Yeah, no. I disagree with you. It is 100% a shutout, and she destroys him.
Yeah. That's fair. Which is, good for KP, because that will be the only win she gets in this bracket. Anyways, back to the East Coast to figure out who wins in Jake the Dog versus Prince of Persia.
Okay. Jake the Dog versus Prince of Persia. Honestly, I don't know.
I'm a little bit...
There's such a different set of powers.
Yeah. I think the Dagger of Time really gives the Prince of Persia a pretty huge advantage in a lot of these fights.
I think he beats Jake the Dog.
Like, Jake is, like, big and powerful, or can be, and also, like, stretchy and fast, but, yeah, I think Prince of Persia just using his natural, like, combative powers, and also his time dagger, kind of just squeaks this one out.
Yeah, it's Prince of Persia.
Which is, fair, because time manipulation is a pretty solid power in most worlds.
It is. It has won other people battles this season. I don't remember who, but they won because of it.
It was Scarlet Witch.
It was Scarlet Witch, gosh darn it. She beat out Rick, and he should have won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, good thing Prince of Persia can only use it to, like, moderately slow time and rewind time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that could be really bad for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, next we have Korra versus Kim Possible, the Battle of the K's, Nickelodeon versus Disney. So, even at her lowest, when you say Korra is stripped of her powers, is it all of them, or does she still have at least, like, one of them?
She has waterbending.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, she wins.
Also, she is, like, still a martial artist.
So is Kim Possible. So is Kim Possible.
I think it's close, but also Korra is, like, shredded.
Kim Possible's pretty shredded for, like, a 12-year-old.
Martial artist.
Kim Possible's only, like, 15. She's also in great shape for 15. Have you seen her ability as a cheerleader? The amount of crazy flips she does.
She's agile, but she definitely loses in a contest of strength versus Korra. Like, easy.
She, like, takes on, like, Monkey Fist. Like, so I'm not saying Korra doesn't win because she has she at the least has the water bending. And that's if we try to stack the deck against Korra. So she's not just pure Avatar. Which, by the way, she's one of 2 avatars who are in this season, and I already know how we're doing Aang. Aang, we will be rolling a thing, because I know enough about Aang's story to know when we'll be rolling which season Aang is in to know which powers he has. I didn't know enough about Korra and didn't talk to you before to decide on what, like, the roles would be, so we just went with, even if we take away her powers right now, she still wins.
I feel like we should do Aang and Korra in the last seasons of the show.
I feel like that's not fair to everyone else.
And I mean, that is fair, but I feel like that's also
Also,
how we're judging every other character.
But
Is
it's
like
not though,
their latest states.
because we didn't do that to Neo. We
Well,
took
his
Neo
latest
out.
state is outside of the Matrix. So in Matrix Resurrections,
That movie, no one liked that movie.
it's officially part of the Matrix universe, though. Sorry about it.
But we did roll to see if Neo had his superpowers or he didn't. So I would say that I think rolling has been a precedent in the past, thanks to Neo.
Well, only Neo, and that's because it's weird because he lives in two different worlds.
Yeah, and
not like
these characters
different
lived in different
times.
seasons.
Not even remotely the same. That's definitely like apples and oranges comparing.
I feel like,
But anyways,
I feel like saying, "Oh, we
that's
don't want
for
this
a
character to
later-
be overpowered," is the same thing we did with him. It's literally the same. That's the reason we did it, was because of his power levels being too high in the Matrix and being literally unbeatable if the battle was somehow in the Matrix.
Oh, Korra and Aang are definitely still beatable even as the avatars.
Yeah, that's fair.
For a lot of characters, no.
We'll
But
we'll
for
have
certain
this
characters-
discussion more offline, and we'll decide what we do with Aang. Korra's getting her full powers maybe in some fights, or not. Either she wins this too. He has a time dagger, but she has like all the powers of the elements.
Yeah, and also the time dagger does eventually run out after
Yeah.
a certain amount of uses, and I feel like you can only like avoid a certain number of just like giant AOE attacks of fire,
Also,
water, and air.
I don't know if she's ever done it, but if she was really in a fight to the death and she's his avatar, she could probably
bloodbending?
bloodbend him and kill him instantly. I mean,
She
I don't
probably
think
could.
Korra probably wouldn't. Dude, like, she probably has virtue and wouldn't do that. But she could.
I just want to find something out real quick. But Korra is our winner for
Korra
this
wins.
episode.
And we will be about to be ending. This has been our episode for today. What you looking for? What we're doing here?
I don't think Korra has used bloodbending.
Well, no, of course she didn't.
Not to say that she could.
I don't think any of the good characters ever have. That's the whole point. Is it's a very evil thing to do.
Oh, Katara can bloodbend.
But would she though?
Would she? Probably not. But
Yeah,
she
the thing
can.
is, it's the.
And has.
Oh, okay.
For like self-defense, I think.
All right. Well, we'll bring that up when we talk about Katara.
Oh, that's fair.
But this has been today's episode. I've been Austin.
Yeah.
He's been Chris. Next week, hey, maybe we'll have news stories. Maybe. Who
Maybe.
knows? If the world keeps being a dumpster fire with no fun news,
Yeah.
we won't do it.
It's
so
possible.
If you're on Twitch, which as of right now no one's watching us on Twitch anyway, but if you are, stick around. If you're a YouTuber, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.